everyone, I'm Lena, and welcome to USA News.
The government has been shut down now for 31 days, and President Trump is telling Senate Republicans to use the nuclear option to break the Democratic filibuster before SNAP benefits are expiring tomorrow.
And as more airports experience delays and staffing shortages, the four biggest airlines in the country are urging Congress to take action to end the shutdown by supporting the GOP's clean funding bill.
Alexandra Hoff joins us live outside of the White House with the latest. Good morning, Alex.
Well, good morning. As you mentioned, that nuclear option is the president pushing for Senate Republicans to end the filibuster. That would mean that bills could pass with a simple majority instead of the 60 votes required now. The president writing this: it's now time for the Republicans to play their Trump card and go for what is called the nuclear option, get rid of the filibuster and get rid of it now. President Trump continued in that any future Democratic Senate majority would likely try and do just that. Now, despite the House passing a clean bill to fund the government and most Senate Democrats blocking its path forward, just 33% of Americans blame Democrats in Congress for the government shutdown, compared to 45% pointing the finger at President Trump and Republicans. That's according to the latest Washington Post and ABC News poll. Now, the country's four largest airlines, they are also pushing for Democrats to get on board with that clean CR. A Delta spokesperson stating Delta Airlines implores Congress to immediately pass a clean continuing resolution to reopen the government so that our air traffic controllers, TSA, and CBP officers charged with the safety and efficiency of our national airspace can collect the paychecks they deserve. Here's Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy on the worker impact.
They're going to have to go take a second job, and you're going to have mass issues throughout the airspace. People will not be able to go from one place to the other because of the government shutdown, and I hope Democrats don't take it to that point.
Delays around the country already stacking up. Vice President Vance fears what a prolonged shutdown would mean for the upcoming holiday season.
Look, it could be a disaster. It really could be, because at that point, you're talking about people have missed 3 paychecks. They've missed 4 paychecks. How many of them are not going to show up for work? We want the aviation industry to work. It's not going to work unless the Democrats reopen the government.
So delays in ground stops, they did impact several airports last night. That included in Orlando, New York, Dallas, and right here in D.C. Guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. Let's bring in our House Speaker, Mike Johnson, to talk about this. Good morning to you, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good morning.
Look, Ainsley, the Democrats have voted 14 times now to prolong all this pain on the American people. And it's so frustrating to us. That's what you see reflected in the president's truth post last night about the filibuster. We just want this to end. They do not deny that the Democrats themselves, that they are prolonging this pain. They admit to it. They said they're using it as leverage. The big question everybody needs to ask this morning is why? They're trying to appeal to the radical left Marxist rise in their party. That is sum total what this entire thing is about. It is infuriating to us.
I think it's also Trump derangement syndrome. They don't want to give y'all anything. How much weight do these 4 airlines have on their decisions, on the Democrats' decisions? I'm sure they have lobbyists that are talking to them saying, y'all need to just sign this clean CR.
Yeah, it's the airlines. It's also the unions. The largest federal employee union, as y'all have reported, came out a couple days ago and said, please pass the clean CR. They represent 820,000 federal employees. That's supposed to be a constituency, the unions that the Democrats claim as their own. Look, you have more unions coming out. You had the head of the Teamsters out there yesterday saying, do the right thing, do the sensible thing, open the government. It's the first and most important responsibility of Congress. And so they're not doing it because they're playing politics.
So the Washington Post ABC poll says that by a 45-33% margin, they blame Republicans more than they do Democrats for the shutdown. It was 47-30. So what's your response to that?
Well, I'm not buying that poll because there's a lot of others who say, including a CNN poll that became pretty famous a couple days ago, saying that the Republicans are winning and we're winning over independents and even Democrats who understand the reality of this whole situation. So, look, it's very clear where the blame lies. The Democrats admit themselves that they are the ones shutting the government down, and they're having a hard time justifying that. So I do think the public pressure is building. You have a real pain that's going to be felt by many Americans, millions of Americans, every day that this goes forward. And if we get past November 1st, it's a very serious situation for a lot of people.
So, Mr. Speaker, I'm just curious, are there any Democrats, besides the 3 that have already voted with the Republicans in the Senate, that are calling your office, calling Majority Leader Thune to have some type of conversation, or they're done? They're just gonna, they think the Republicans are gonna lose on this?
Well, listen, there's a lot of fear in the Democrat Party right now. The fear is what is motivating the leaders in both chambers, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. They're afraid because they're in New York that they're going to get a Mamdani-like candidate to oppose them in their next reelect. AOC may run against Schumer. Hakeem is worried about a challenge in New York City. And it's very real for them, and that's what motivates what they're doing. But also, even the moderates and centrists in the Senate, they appear to be afraid to go around their leader, Chuck Schumer. He's not released them yet. Now, they're talking. There's lots of discussion. People want, I think some reasonable people over there want to get out of this mess. And they understand at the end of the day, the American people are wise. They understand what's going on. They're going to see who's responsible, and there'll be a price to pay for that politically.
So,
Go ahead, Brian.
there was one of the families, you talk about the military, and I guess they're finding a way to pay the military. But
Yes.
this woman, Kathy Ruth Duque, was on with us and just talked about there's going to be a need really to help in with all type of community events in order for people to eat. Watch.
It's hard to express how stressful this shutdown and all of the attendant challenges are for the people who serve and their families. It is paycheck to paycheck. 30% of our families have less than $3,000 in savings, and that means when you can't, if a paycheck's not coming in, if a bill hits, you don't have a bench. People are seeking loans. They're going into savings. They're stretched thin, trying to prepare for what's happening right now.
You've heard this?
I have, and I've heard it from my own constituents. I have a big military district. I have a Barksdale Air Force Base in Fort Polk, the Air Force and Army. We have a lot of people who are really struggling right now, and I'm grateful for President Trump, a commander-in-chief who understands the plight of our military and the extreme service and sacrifice that they make for the country, who's bent over backwards to find these unobligated funds and the research and development pots of money and elsewhere to pay. But look, it's not an inexhaustible fund. I mean, we've got to figure this out. The simplest way to get not just the troops, but the Border Patrol agents and TSA and air traffic controllers and everybody, the Veterans Health Services and of course, nutrition services for young families, young women, the elderly, disabled, is for the Democrats to do what they've always done, Brian. They have always voted for CRs because they've said themselves this pain would never be worth it. We need them to come to their senses and vote to reopen on the clean CR.
Mr. Speaker, House Democrats are upset with Donald Trump for his briefing on bombing those drug boats that are coming across from Venezuela. Here are some of what the Democrats are saying.
There's nothing that we heard in there that changes my assessment that this is completely illegal, that it is unlawful.
It wasn't completely satisfied at all. I still have a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I think they owe us some explanations.
I heard no strategy, no end game, no assessment of how they are going to end the flow of drugs into the United States.
Am I leaving satisfied? Absolutely not.
They're upset, Mr. Speaker, because they say there's no legal basis, there's no evidence to prove what the president is saying. What's your response?
To the shock of no one, House Democrats are not satisfied with the briefing from the Trump administration. I mean, give me a break. If they came out and said they were satisfied, they would be pilloried by their own supporters. Again, they're motivated out of fear and, as you said, Ainsley, Trump derangement syndrome. Look, I've been to a briefing with the Secretary of State himself, the Gang of Eight, and we heard what was going on there. I'm not going to say the classified parts, but I will tell you we have exquisite intelligence on exactly what we're doing, who is being targeted. They're bringing massive amounts of deadly narcotics into the country. Fentanyl was a leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 49 during the Biden years. We have a president now who is protecting the American people, and they ought to be applauding that instead of criticizing it.
Yeah, but Mr. Speaker, this is moronic. You got, as you just laid out, of all the kids that have died. We've seen the families on Capitol Hill. We've seen the illegals that they brought, because the same people, the drug cartel, are funding the people to come across the border as well. That's their operation. And there is zero celebrating that the enemy is there. I don't need a briefing. Bad guys are dying. I like it.
The cartels are at war with the U.S. They have killed more people than we've lost in war. I mean, you know, one boatload full of this stuff, fentanyl, for example, can kill hundreds of thousands of Americans. So you take that out and you leave that out at sea and you've saved the country. You've helped save lives, innocent people. I cannot imagine why they would be criticizing the White House for taking action in this way.
What circumstances has you bring the House back? What are you looking for before you do that?
Brian, we are anxious to get the House back to regular legislative session, but we have to get the lights turned back on. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate have got to reopen the government. Again, it's the most fundamental responsibility of Congress is to have the government operate and work for the people. And that's the number one priority right now, and we cannot deviate from that. That is the goal, that is the mission, it has to be done.
Not until it opens.
That's exactly right, yes.
Mr. Speaker, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Please subscribe to our official channel, USA News, and stay with us to get the latest daily updates from around the world. Stay healthy, stay informed, and live your life beautifully. This is USA News Today, bringing you truth and clarity every day.